Okay.
Okay, guys, on my watch, I got 6 o'clock, so get started.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess it's 6 o'clock.
Okay, I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda. We're going to move item 17 up right after number 11.
And there's one other item. I had a misspelling on a name. It should not be Barb Johnson. It should be Barb Thompson. But
Okay.
Oh, T-H-O-M-P,
yes, she has a P, right?
Yes.
S-O-N?
Yes.
Armed with those 2 changes, I would approve or move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approved minutes of the September 5th and 14th meetings.
Anybody see anything that looked out of place to you?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of September 5th and 14th meetings.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D. Cole, welcome.
Welcome back to the library. Hopefully next year we'll be in a new building, but that remains to be seen. I may be calling you to help us move, that's what will happen. So, okay, Pat had on the schedule that I was to present new things and what's going on at the library. Every year in February, March, we do an annual report, and so I just kind of pulled a few things from there. We had 1,471 books checked out on Overdrive, which is our e-reader. And so it means if you have a number from the Alcester Library, you can go in and download free of charge books from the state library. Well, it's a consortium, it's not really the state library anymore. But anyway, we're having a lot of action on that. I think I had about 400 more than the year before, so it's definitely on the increase. We pay from our computer budget, which is what the county commissioners give us for this. We pay our fee and we split it with the school. It's $1,500, so we pay $750 and they pay $750. And this also allows the children, if they get a number here, they can download, teachers can use it and so on. The 3rd grade last year, I gave her a number for everybody in the 3rd grade. They don't keep them permanently like you would keep a number, but they can use them in the 3rd grade. So I haven't had any requests for any this year, but there's quite a few out over there, so I think they're using it. Okay, our children's programs, we had over 1,000 kids, 1,077 kids that used the library in the the year of 2017. So this is all the programming that I do. The special programs I get in, the weekly programs I do, and all of this. And so I'm thinking, and I told my board this, that my numbers were down a little bit this summer, but we have such a strong, it's the after-school program, and they do it during the summer also. And so they have a lot of kids. They had like 60-some kids over there all summer. The kids go over there in the morning, and one year they did it here, but now they're going over to the elementary. And then they went to swimming in the afternoon. So I think I'm losing numbers just because of the fact that, they're tired of programming by the afternoon, and so they're heading for the swimming pool. So, they're around, but I just didn't see as many of them this summer. We had 67 books last year this was in 17, that I loaned to other libraries through the interlibrary loan program, which I told you about last year. We're now all in what we call an interlibrary loan system. Other libraries request books from me. I'm sure I've had 67 already this year and 18, because I'm constantly mailing. Those go through Pat, the postage goes through Pat. Sometimes I take down 2, 3 a week. You know, and then there go a week or two I don't take any, but you know, it's pretty consistent. And I think part of the reason is because Alcester's at the top of the list alphabetically, so we get drawn first when the requests go in. But you know, if I've got it, I like to share it. So right now we own 365 audiobooks, which some of you use when you travel. They're kind of nice. You just plug them into your CD player. How much longer cars will have CD players? I don't know. They want to go to something else, but right now that's what we've got. We've got 1,118 DVDs, and that's also, my numbers are not as high there anymore because of Netflix. You know, it's just the technology that takes over. So, but that's some of the things that I have. We did add the Wi-Fi this spring. We go through Alliance. We pay $33 a month, I think, is that right, Pat? Something right in there. And that gives us access to Wi-Fi. We have a router, and so if people come in and want to get on the Wi-Fi, I just put in the number into their machine and they can use it while they're here. I used to have a lot of people that traveled in the summer and wanted to use it. I didn't see as many this summer, and I don't exactly know why, if people have their own hook up to something else or whatever, but I didn't see quite as many this summer. But I have some people that use it regularly. So, you guys, we own all the computers in this room right now, which is 6. And I'm thinking that next year when we move, we will switch those out and sell these as surplus because they're probably 5 years old by now, and that's usually what we do on them, is 5 years. We also own the two little children's computers over there, and those are used constantly. When there's kids in here, there's always somebody on those. So those have gotten very good use. This spring, Pat purchased 2 iPads for us, and I dug them out tonight. They were deader than doornails because nobody's used them since school started. This summer they were always out. We don't loan these to go home. These are used just in the building. But the kids loved them, and the school has 2 of them, so that gave me 4 of them all summer to shuffle out to the kids, and they really liked them. These are new, and so they have all the flashy bells and whistles on them that we can get. And so this was also a purchase that was made out of that county commission money that we have in a savings account called technology. And there's quite a, I guess I didn't look at, I don't know if Pat knows off the top of her head what's in that account, but it should be plenty to cover our new computers when we change, because we will get that payment again in the fall. In the spring, we've been getting $3,500. Somebody at the library conference told me it's going up, so I'm not sure, but that would be nice. So, another new thing we did last fall was we put in a Keurig up at the, right when you step inside the door. The kids use this a lot off and on. I don't have a lot of adults that use it, but it's available for anybody. It's $1 for a cup of coffee. If you freeze out tonight, I don't think there's any heat in here. So if you get too cold, you can go back and have a cup of coffee or hot chocolate. We have apple cider, hot chocolate, you know, just kind of keep a variety of things in there. So those are kind of the new things that we've gotten since last year, since you've been here. Like I say, the summer and fall should be interesting. We'll be on the move, and exactly how we do this room, I'm not exactly sure. Most of the teachers can box up the books they own in a box or 2 and grab their desk and be off and running. Doesn't quite work that way here, so this is going to be an interesting move. You know, we've moved from upstairs. I've moved the books in here 4 times. That tells you something. I should retire. But anyway, you know, when it's in the same building, it's not so bad, because you can mark them pretty easily. But boy, hauling them across town, that's going to be a whole another ball game. So anyway, anybody has any ideas for how to move a library, we're certainly open to anything you can contribute. And you know, hopefully we're supposed to have just about the same floor square footage. So I'm looking at a lot of new models of libraries, and they're not using a lot of wall shelving anymore. It's mostly freestanding, and they recommend on wheels. So I don't know what we'll end up doing. The architecture's drawings were made with these shelves to be moved. Those, of course, are all newer. Alcota has painted these for us once. You know, they're scratched and scraped, so the library board did talk about maybe we need to replace these. We'll just have to see what happens in the summer. Those are all in pretty good condition over there, those units are. And they actually, I don't think they're screwed to the wall, but maybe they are. I don't remember exactly, I'd have to go look, but these are all screwed to the wall, so. So anyway, we'll have to do some thinking into that when we move. But we do have some money from a CD that was given to us years and years and years ago, right after we moved into here, that we have. So there's a possibility that we can maybe use that money to do some shelving. So we'll have to see that one. So any other questions you've got? I'm here, our hours for the winter now. I'm here from 2:30. I'm here every day now from 2:30 to 6:30. And I'm here on Saturday mornings for 3 hours. So anybody need us, need me, need to order a book, need a book, need a number for overdrive, let me know. We're always here. And the other two gals are staffing during the day, so it's open now from 9 in the morning till 6:30 at night, which is pretty good for a town this size.
So thank you, Dee, for what you do.
Yeah,
You do a
well, thank you.
fantastic job.
I do have one question. I don't know if you recall, last year I brought in the Silent Witnesses project. Would it be okay if I brought those in again?
Sure, that's fine, yeah. We try to make room up there for displays and
Okay.
things on the windows and so on. Yeah, that'd be
When
fine.
could I do that?
Whenever you're, that fine.
Tonight even?
Yeah, yes, if you wanna leave it there. we'll do
How
it.
many, did we do 2 last year?
I think we just did one.
Just in one? Okay.
I think so.
All right.
So, yeah, and, we have, some days have a lot of people through, some days they don't, so, but it's certainly, as far as from other small libraries that I see in the state, this is certainly a very nice facility. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Stacy and Barb, parking on Iowa Street.
Do we just stand here?
Either that or you can address if you'd like.
Okay, I'm like, we've never done this before, so kind of new. So yeah, we are here tonight concerning the parking tickets that we received on the evening of 9/11. We were having Bible study at Hillary's house on Iowa Street, just west here, and which is on the one-way street. 4 of us parked on the west side of the street, unaware that we couldn't park there. When you look down the one-way street, when you're at this corner, you can see others parking on the west side. When you look to the south, none of us saw no parking sign on the block when we turned onto that road. But after the Bible study, we had $20 parking tickets. So we started looking for a no parking sign, and we did find one, but it was way on the south end of that block, and it wasn't visible when you were turning east. So we don't feel like we should have to pay the ticket since we couldn't see the sign. A warning ticket would have been sufficient. We did speak with Jeff Christie about this, about the placement of the sign, and he agreed with us that it wasn't good and that it wasn't visible from the east and that it needed to be further into the block. He spoke with Lonnie, who's in charge of the street signs, about moving it, and he agreed also that it needed to be in a different spot. So we did notice that it was moved this past week, which we do appreciate that, because now it is definitely visible if you're turning from the east onto that one way. Let's see. So we don't feel that it's fair that if we have to pay the ticket, since we couldn't see the no parking sign. We do have a picture of where the sign was at before it was moved, if you guys wanted to view that.
Pass
I'll
it
look at it,
around.
yeah.
Okay. I printed off the video one, so I'll just.
Thank you. Just for a point of reference, this is looking,
This is we're coming from the east, so you're looking west, turning in. So you can see there that there is a sign there, but you can't see what it says.
anybody else? I got it.
Yeah.
And now, in your opinion, I mean, it's very visible.
Yep. Yeah, you can see it the minute you stop at the stop sign now,
Yeah, they
before you
moved it.
even turn.
I'd say at least, I don't know, 50 feet, I think,
20 feet.
20 feet.
Where it was.
because it's ahead of where the tree is now.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's quite visible either way.
Austin, you issued it, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys want to say something about it, or?
I guess, yeah, the reason he issued the tickets is he saw the vehicles that were parked illegally per city ordinance. He gave it until about approximately 9:30. The reason those no parking signs are there is for in the school bus route in the morning. It's a pretty tight street to begin with, so they don't allow parking on the west side of the street for the school bus route. Austin gave it until 9:30. At like 9:33, he ticketed all 4 vehicles as he figured they would be there through to the morning. Either way, it was against city ordinance, so he wrote the tickets.
So you're requesting that the tickets just be disposed of completely?
We paid them already,
You already paid them.
but I guess just looking to have it refunded. I agree with Jeff that yes, we did park illegally, but I was not aware that I was parking illegally. If I would have known that I was, I would not have parked there. I don't like to go against the laws.
I have 3 that have paid. There was 4 tickets issued, 1 hasn't paid. I don't know who that is. I have 1 that's not paid. 1 came in after the 72-hour time. They only paid $20. After 72 hours per city ordinance, it turns to $40. So I have 1 late, 1 not paid, 2 paid on time.
Are you from Alcester?
Yep.
And have you driven on this street before?
I have been, I don't really take the one-way very often. I mean, going to Bible study there, but otherwise, I live on Park Avenue.
Do you know what time you parked there?
We
I was
started
like
at
7 and we left about 9:45. 9:45 to 10, somewhere in there.
September 11th, so the sun was still up at that time?
No,
no.
it was dark.
And I live in the country north of town,
Okay.
so I rarely drive on the one-way street unless I'm going.
How long has the sign been there? Does anybody present know?
Ever since I was
It-
tall.
I say probably forever.
Ever since I remember.
And when I spoke to Lonnie about the street sign, it was positioned there before his time in Alcester, so we don't know who placed it, but it was before his time working for the city.
So was there an obstruction in the form of a tree? I mean,
It wasn't any obstruction. I think their biggest complaint is they're coming westbound on 5th Street, turning right northbound onto Iowa. And unless you specifically looked very carefully, you could just barely catch a
Yeah.
glimpse of the sign.
yeah.
So I did agree with them. I just said, however, the violation still occurred. So I just make it a habit not to tear up tickets. I never have, and I probably never will.
Well, it's kind of like driving the wrong way on Iowa Street. You can miss the sign, but you're still driving the wrong way on Iowa Street.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can miss a speed sign and you're still speeding. So I can see both sides of this.
Yeah, if you're driving 40 mile an hour in a 30 mile zone and you didn't see the 30 mile thing, well, you're still going over the speed limit in the zone, so, I don't know.
Strict liability. Put the hammer down. So Jeff, are you saying that, in your opinion, these tickets should be enforced, not torn up?
Yeah, and as far as my career goes, you won't see me tear up a ticket issued by another officer. I'm just not gonna do it. I think it sets a dangerous precedence as far as I go as chief. We don't need to get the reputation that somebody can come down and complain about a ticket because their son got a speeding ticket. I'm not saying that this is the same thing. I'm just saying, as a general rule, I'm not gonna tear up tickets based on complaints. Now, if we go to court on something and we lose that case, it is what it is. I hold no grudges or anything, but I'm not gonna tear up my officers' tickets.
I've had a couple instances in my driving career where I ended up doing things that ended up being illegal. I was gonna fight him, and it just seemed a whole lot easier to pay the fine and admit that I was wrong, so.
And I will vouch, I mean, I agree. Like you said, it was a violation, but I had no idea I was violating, and I guess that's where we're having the problem, just because we were not able to see the sign from where we came, so.
Because it wasn't visibly displayed from that direction.
Right, but it, I mean, we obviously know that we did violate,
wrong.
yes.
Yeah.
It's just
And
that
I
we
know
were
I
not-
will not park on that
Right.
side again. I've
Me
learned
either.
that lesson.
Definitely
I've done
not.
it previous because I didn't know, so I parked there again from last year when we had Bible study over there. So,
Mr. Nelson, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, Ms. Kay, if you wanted to hear from me, I certainly will tell you.
I always love hearing.
Well, that's good, thanks, I'm glad that keeps me employed. Ladies, I feel bad for you. It sounds like we should probably move the signs or put up another something, but I agree with the chief. We set a dangerous precedent if you can come to council and air your grievance and get your ticket taken care of. And I feel for you. And I'll just kind of echo Dave's comments. I've gotten some pretty hefty tickets because I like to drive faster than I should sometimes, and for me that's just part of the cost of driving. But I don't feel it would set a good precedent for the city if they would forgive these things at the end of the day. It was posted, maybe not well, but it was posted, and it is the ordinance, as the chief said. You know, I'm glad you brought it to our attention because it sounds like something we need to fix.
which it has been
Yeah, it is
fixed.
fixed now.
Okay. You know, and so the city certainly could choose to, you know, forgive it if they wanted to, but if we pick and choose when we enforce ordinances, then nobody follows them. And there's chaos and mess hysteria. Just can't have it.
Yeah.
That would. Thank you.
Any other
So what is
comments?
the consensus, or is there a consensus?
I'm in agreement with our attorney and with our chief of police that
It's unfortunate, but it
it's
is what
a
it
strict
is.
liability offense, it doesn't require any level of intent or knowledge. It is
that
what it is.
Similar
Signs.
to ignorance of the law is no excuse? Is that basically, I mean, and I don't mean to say you're ignorant. We're all ignorant of everything once. But the point is, the sign was there. It's just like a speed sign. I don't know how often I've been in trouble because I didn't see a change in speed zones.
My question is, what warrants a warning?
It's a good question.
Officer discretion.
It's, yeah, clearly, it's just officer discretion. So there's 2 mandatory arrests in South Dakota. Other than those 2, officer discretion comes into play. So,
I just know from, I'm just comparing to Sioux Falls, that a lot of times you get a warning if your meter is run out or whatever,
in Sioux
before
Falls.
you get a ticket.
Not in downtown Sioux
For
Falls.
parking?
So I've never gotten a warning for a expired meter.
Yeah. You're the only one I know.
I got a ticket in Sioux Falls. I was parked in the wintertime, and we were at a wedding party that night. They towed my car because they were gonna plow the street. There was no sign, anything, and I also got a ticket for illegal parking. So I had to get my car out of hock and pay the ticket. It ended up costing me about $400. And I thought that was ridiculous, but what do?
Probably had a
You want your
pothole
car
in the
back.
too, didn't you?
Within 6 months, you pay it.
I don't know, it's an unfortunate situation, but
May I add something? And I'm not taking sides on this, and I'm gonna have Pat read it if that's all right, because I don't know if my voice can get through it. I'm gonna read just O2. This is from the MUTCD.
Regulatory
Placement
sign.
signs.
Regulatory signs shall be installed at or near where the regulations apply. The sign shall clearly indicate the requirements imposed by regulations and shall be designed and installed to provide adequate visibility and legibility in order to obtain compliance.
And that's what governs you on where you put your signs, Lonnie.
Exactly,
Okay.
and, you know, where, it states where a sign really should be, you know, so.
You wanna let them know what MUTC means?
So in essence,
It,
I mean,
basically,
if you had gone onto that street a block earlier, it'd be a moot point.
Right, you would have seen the sign.
So I guess that's my point. We'd either have to have a sign at every single block.
This is the only block here that you can't park on that one
Just that
side.
one block.
It's just the school block,
It's the
Because of the
reason
school
because of the
bus.
school.
Right.
and that's because of the
Yeah,
school.
I understand.
Thus, we didn't drive up the one-way street, so turning, the sign wasn't visible, so we parked on that side.
the MUTCD is basically the federal government's sign regulation handbook, so just for your information.
Okay, so what's,
Did you want to interpret that definition?
Sure, so Lonnie's right. You can have an ordinance posted that says you can't park on this side of the street, arguably without a sign. But to your point, it's strict liability. So yes, the federal stuff controls, but the federal government doesn't get to tell us how our ordinance works in that sense, so. Could the sign have been in a better spot? Yeah, but does that change the rules? No, I don't think.
okay, so where are we at, people?
I say the ticket stands. If it's something that you guys want to take to court, I think that's a separate issue. But I do not feel comfortable telling the police officers that they need to tear up their tickets. Someone
That's,
disagrees?
that's the way I feel too.
Yeah.
I thank you for your donation to the city
Yeah.
and for bringing this up so we get the sign fixed, but I don't think we should tear it down.
No. That's the, why we have a police department like that. That's their discretion, I feel.
And this all being said, I've been lenient on the payments coming in. Technically, by ordinance, it's 72 hours and they turned to $40. One came in late, I have one that's not paid. I don't know if you know that.
Mine was the one that I should have paid, and I didn't realize it said 72 hours.
Okay.
Thus,
Do you know-
but
do you
I
know
can
who the
still
fourth-
pay, I don't know who the fourth one is,
Okay.
but I can still give you the other 20. I didn't realize it after the
No,
fact, but.
I guess, I think, I'd like to maybe put forward the fact that
Yeah, and they were coming to council, so I was lenient on it. That being said, the fourth one's gotta get in and get
So did you
paid.
say one person did not pay at
At
all?
all.
Yeah.
Okay, we were not aware of that.
Yeah, so you might
No,
wanna check
'cause we
with your
told
Bible
them-
study.
Well, we told them
Yeah.
to make sure everybody paid, so
Yeah.
I apologize for that, so.
That's all right.
And the ticket clearly says on it that you have 72
Yes.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
It
didn't,
does.
I didn't see that. I didn't exactly look at it too closely, and I was gonna pay it the day I went in to talk to him, but he told me to wait, and then I never made it back into town to do it, so. But I will pay the additional 20 if I
No,
have to.
no. I knew you were coming to city council, so I was willing to be lenient on that. The other one, though, whoever the other one is, just let them know, because I don't want it to go to municipal warrant.
No.
Right.
Well,
You guys are at a Bible study.
right. I know, we were doing a good thing. We got tickets for it.
I don't think this is the crime of the century.
No.
Yeah.
Pray for him.
I don't think so.
Time for
Certainly
it.
not the crime of the month.
Yeah. No, no.
Okay.
We good?
Thank you guys
Okay,
for your time.
yep. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Public input.
I have Vickie Larsen. The council approved the minutes of the August 6th and 20th meeting, August 20th meetings. The August 20th meeting has still not appeared in the paper. You have a time of delivery for a copy to the official paper, It's not in there. I have the papers. Didn't find them, so the 14th, September 14th isn't in there yet, but I was gone, so I went looking for the minutes, and they didn't appear. I did call the publisher of the newspaper, and he said he'd call me back. I have not received.
What was the date on that?
It was the August 20th meeting. The minutes have not appeared in the paper.
Do you know anything?
I do, and you've got a copy of it in your packet. Shane did call me and he asked if I sent an email to him with the minutes, and I did. I sent them on August 21st at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Where is that?
It's in your packet. It's a copy of an email. Yes. So you can see the
Yeah,
time.
the day after the
Yes,
minute.
at 9 o'clock in the morning. I always send the emails the same way. I send them to 2 email addresses, Shane Hill, which is it's SE Star, which is the address that he uses in Centerville, and then Parapub, which is the address here. And I did send it. Shane and I were on the phone today, and I told him exactly when it was sent, and he did not have it in his inbox. But it's the same way I send every other email, and it's the same email I send to all of you. So
Yep.
it is going to be in this week's paper.
This is the second time this has happened within 6 months, so maybe we should probably follow up to just check the paper to make sure the minutes are getting in the paper, since we don't have a website yet, because people rely on those.
Okay.
So he is going to publish it.
Yes.
Any other public input?
My name is Derek McIntosh. I'm currently running for Union County Sheriff. I want to thank Melissa for giving me the opportunity to come up here and present to talk to you guys. A little bit about myself. I am 34 years old. I've been in law enforcement for a little over 7 years now. Prior to getting to law enforcement, I was in the U.S. Army for about 17 years. I did spend time overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, Kosovo, stuff like that. I joined back in 2002. When I was in Iraq, we did VIP escort personnel protection missions. We were in the country for about 16 months. Came home, started to go to school for police science, turned around, got deployed again to Afghanistan, 3 semesters into going to school. While we were in Afghanistan, we did VIP or HVT snatch missions, high value target snatch missions over there. Came back home, got hired on at the North City Police Department. It's been a little bit difficult for me to campaign further up north within the county. I know the current sheriff has a lot of family and everything up here. I know with me being currently employed by the North City Police Department and part-time with the Elk Point Police Department, I have a lot of personal contacts in the areas to the south of the county, but it's a little bit more difficult for me to get personal contacts and reach out to people up here. So I do appreciate Melissa to reach out to me and make this an opportunity for me to come out here and talk to you guys. A couple things that I'd like to do as the Union County Sheriff, a couple things that I'd like to change. First of all, Melissa, she got a hold of my vision on my website. If you guys would like to take some time, personal time, McIntoshforSheriff.com. That's 4 spelled out, F-O-R, it's not the number 4. Okay, McIntoshforSheriff.com. It's got my actual autobiography on there as well as my vision for the county. But just a couple of the highlights of the vision. One of the main things that Melissa reached out to me for was school resource officers throughout the entire county. Now, me being with the North City Police Department going on 7 years now, I was one of the first full-time school resource officers with the school down in Dakota Valley. Okay. We started implementing a full-time school resource officer, and I understood the importance of actually having a police officer on campus at the school throughout the day when there's children there. And the thing is, you have to understand, when it comes to a school resource officer, we're not putting police officers into the school in hopes that we're going to get more children in trouble. We're there to protect the students. And in today's day and age, that's something that I think has become very important for us to do. I mean, we have armed personnel that protect our monies in the bank, but we don't have armed personnel protecting our children in the schools. And everybody, we read the news and everything like that every day. We see the school shootings. While it may seem like they're getting to be something that's more of an increase, okay, it's something that we need to start taking a little bit more seriously. If you guys watch the news and stuff like that, where there are school shootings, they go to interview the people. What's the first thing that the people say when they talk to them? I never thought it would happen in a place like this. Okay, so it's just a reality that we need to start taking into account. Start having people with the proper mindsets stationed at the schools to help the administration within the schools as far as law enforcement is concerned. Okay. A couple other things I'd like to change is deputy coverage throughout the county. Currently, the current sheriff's office is running 12-hour shifts where they work 4 days and then have 3 days off. Okay. There is a way, without any increase to taxpayer dollars, to change the current schedule and have increased coverage, where we have a 5-day, 8-hour schedule with only 2 days off. It's the current schedule that we run in North Sioux City with 8 officers, and we always have double coverage. Okay, I think it'd be a huge advantage for the county to always have a deputy to the north of the county and a deputy to the south of the county. Okay, me working in North Sioux City, I've seen way too many times where we have a deputy that's in the north of the county, but there's an emergency at the south of the county, and even going lights and sirens, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to respond to serious emergencies in the North Sioux or Dakota Dunes area or anything like that. Okay. So I would like to improve coverage of the entire county. Another thing, like I said, I work part-time. I've been working full-time with North Sioux City, going on 7 years. I've worked part-time in the Elk Point Police Department for 2 years. Okay. While working with the Elk Point Police Department, there's been a handful of times I've been called over to the Union County Jail to assist with aggressive inmates. Okay. I believe that there is a severe lack of training with the personal jailers. I do not believe that deputies should be getting pulled from road duty to deal with aggressive inmates. I think that there should be a standardized set level of training with all the jailers to handle aggressive inmates if that does happen. Okay. With that being said, I'd like to see an increase in standardized training, plus also advanced training for the jailers. Okay. Another thing too, transparency within the sheriff's office. Okay. I'd like to reach out to all the local media sources, newspapers and stuff like that, to see if there's any way that we can start having a weekly or bi-weekly article written by not only the sheriff, but also deputies, dispatchers, and jailers, so that the public can start to get to know some of the people that are working for their sheriff's office, a little bit more transparency and stuff like that. Topics be anything that they find acceptable for the paper, okay, whether it be current situations or anything like that. Okay. That is going to be some of the highlights on some of my vision. I go into a lot more detail if you get on my website and read some of my vision, but without taking up too much time, that was a very condensed version. Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me? Go ahead.
Have you made any kind of calculations as to how much the resource officers and the extra training is going to cost?
I have not currently, but I was actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because for the longest time, we never had a full-time school resource officer with North Sioux City. So it took myself and the chief of police. This was an idea that we brainstormed. So we reached out to the school board, we talked to the school board, and with the school board's permission and in partnership with the city council, we were able to get the school board to cover half of the cost of the full-time school resource officer.
Thanks.
If I may, I have a question.
Yes.
Dakota Dunes, that's not an incorporated city.
No.
Sheriff's Department putting coverage in there. How many officers?
Like I said before, there is, with the current schedule that we run, we have one deputy. Sometimes there is double coverage, but most times there is only single coverage. Like I said, if there is a deputy in the north part of the county, there's not going to be a deputy in the south part of the county. And that's, like I said, that's one of the bigger issues that I see right now as far as county coverage. As far as me working with North Sioux City, we do have the ability to respond to extreme emergencies in the dunes, but we have to have sheriff's permission to leave our jurisdiction and enter county jurisdiction at that point. Did that answer your question?
Well, for a while they were having a deputy solely responsible for dunes? Dunes just had a security system.
Currently, the Dakota Dunes has hired outside security coverage for the dunes, which is something that I don't agree with when it's something that should be covered by the county. They have Sioux City Night Patrol patrolling the dunes down there.
Certified officers through the
Not
state.
certified officers, just security guards. Any other questions?
Well, I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you for all your overseas duty that you did.
Thank you.
In Afghanistan, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, I really appreciate it, thank you for your
Anybody that goes over
support.
there, it's very well appreciated,
I'll say.
and thank you.
In an effort to try to get all that condensed, I didn't get a chance to introduce my significant other right
Hi.
here. This is Alina. She's my partner. She's currently pregnant with our 4th child. So I did want to take an opportunity to introduce her as well, but I kind of jumped into it and totally bypassed it. So I do apologize for that.
Nice to meet you.
So is this something that you would see yourself doing in the future if you are elected? Would you come and maybe come talk to our council as the sheriff?
Actually, it would be a great honor for me to get me a little bit more involved with city politics as the sheriff. I think with all the municipalities within Union County, I think it would be great for a sheriff to actually be present and just understand what's going on in a lot of these municipalities within the sheriff's office. And yes, I think it's you can actually run the county a lot better if you understand the dynamics of those municipalities.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you
very much.
And yeah, it's very cold in here.
It is freezing in here.
Thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other public input?
I have some. Actually, it's kind of two-pronged public input, public meaning myself as a member of the public, and I've heard from a number of different people that the motion that I made last meeting concerning mitigating the feral cat population has been misconstrued to the point where they just assumed that little Fluffy with a collar on was going to be exterminated. I said, and I specifically said, all legal means. And I would like that to be in the minutes so that the people that do read the minutes see that this has been addressed. If they read the actual motion, if they read the minutes, they should understand that it was not meant to be, let's just go out and eliminate all the cats that are running around on the streets.
And that is what the minutes say.
What's that?
The police department to use all lawful and necessary means.
Lawful.
Oh, there you go.
Pat, to do what?
Mitigate the cat problem.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. If they really would have read that, they would have realized that that doesn't mean that we're just gonna go out and indiscriminately kill cats. And the fact that they brought that up, it has actually stalled the whole process. I don't fault the chief or any of the officers here for stalling, because I wouldn't want to even be involved in it the way it stands right now. But I think it's something that needs to be addressed, and I think it has to be dealt with. We don't let dogs do that. Why do we let cats do that? Nobody can answer that question. That's because there is no answer to that. Well, they're cute, and they're cuter than dogs, I'll give you that.
Okay.
So what specifically was the feedback that?
Well, a number of people were concerned that we were gonna kill cats.
Yeah, I had a few calls at the office, and then I believe, I don't have Facebook for reasons, but I think once it hit Facebook, one person made a wrong post. But they didn't exactly understand what we were going to do, and it just blew up, so.
I guess it was my understanding that we did not know what we were going to do. Was that
Yes.
kind of what research is that my?
And I was talking to the chief on it, he and I talked about it today, I still haven't gotten to that yet, as far as if the city wanted to, could we put poison out, could we eliminate them? And, exactly how to do that, I still haven't solved that riddle yet.
And I've heard positives. So you know that too.
That's nice.
Well,
I've heard it's about time.
Yeah, absolutely, I've heard that too, but the thing I wanted to address was, come on, people, we're not indiscriminately going to just kill a cat. I mean, it's painfully obvious if a cat is running around, you know, with one eye and one leg missing or whatever, that cat is not being cared for. I don't know. There are things that need to be done. There are a lot of farmers that would welcome even that cat with one eye and one leg missing to take care of their rat and mice problem.
We set traps down by the store to live trap cats. We had several cats in the traps, and a person came down and released them before the farmer got there to take them, because he was wanting a bunch of cats. And there was 4 or 5 cats in there.
See, I
And
think
somebody
that's
came
the kind
down
of information
and turned them
that should
loose
be-
because they was afraid we was gonna kill the cats.
Of course, I think that's the kind of information that should be disseminated to the public so that they realize those cats weren't going to be euthanized, they were going to be transferred to a
Out
location.
to the farm, yeah.
And they would have been just fine. They've probably gotten fat and sassy.
Well, it got blown out of proportion was what happened, but anyway, okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other public input? Okay, street updates, Lonnie Johnson.
You know, I don't really have any updates. I haven't been here for a while, but most of what we've done is just a lot of asphalt since I've last been here. All that good stuff.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Other than that, just getting ready for the snow to fly here pretty soon, I suppose, since October 1st is next. Yeah. I did have one question. What you guys were talking about, the ordinances earlier, if it doesn't state it, is that like in reference to like our 25 mile an hour all through town? Is that what you guys meant? By, I don't remember what word you guys were using.
Strict liability?
Yes.
Yeah, similar concept.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, just a question, in general, like if somebody came in out of town and didn't know that, our speed limits are 25 except posted? Because I don't think there's a sign that says that anywhere, is there?
Right, residential is 25.
Yes.
That's pretty much.
That's standard on the test.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
general
That's
drugs,
standard.
and then strict liability is illegal just because they happen.
Okay.
That's kind of,
So that's why you see some towns that have like 30 mile an hour posted because. that makes
Highway
sense.
11's
Okay.
the 30, so.
Okay,
Same thing as an unposted gravel is 55, so.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
okay, so, yeah, that's all I had on that. I was just trying to figure out what you guys were meaning by talking about that stuff. So.
Lonnie, I have a question about 305 West 3rd Street.
Yep.
Was Joe talking about the curb and the gutter, the cement that's breaking up?
Well, that's what I was informed of, is curb and gutter.
Okay,
I know the asphalt is coming away there a little bit, but I could go put patch in there in the next 2-inch rain we get, it's gonna be gone, because it's a terrible curb and gutter, so. There's no base under it because the curb and gutter's so broke up, the water gets in there and then it gets soft.
I guess, yeah, I walked down past there and, boy, I tell you, if you were riding a bike down that street at night, didn't know that was there, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 places, that one driveway and then in front of, I suppose it's Joe's house, where Joe lives. There's, 3 or 4 inch wide gap,
On the street or the curb and gutter?
well, between, from the gutter,
Where the asphalt meets the curb.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or the gutter.
Right.
yeah.
And I understand that, but it's like I said, I go
Yeah.
put some patch in there, it's gonna be gone. So, the only way to really fix it is to cut our asphalt out to make it wider, the patch area. But,
But then you'd have to put a base underneath it in order to make it.
yeah, it's eventually gonna do it again because
Yeah.
of the curb and gutter. I mean, we have curb and gutter that's worse than that around town, and it's the reason the street's falling apart next to it. So I mean, I'll gladly go put some patch in there, but I'm not guaranteeing it's gonna stay.
That'd be just a cold mix that you just put in it?
Yeah, all we have is bags right now, and it is costly to use the bags,
Yeah.
so, I mean, about 250 pounds costs probably 80 to 100 bucks, something like that, am I doing the math right? So,
Well, I think we should do something to fill those gaps to make it safe, so somebody doesn't get hurt there.
okay, you want me to do it every other rain then, too, or just saying?
Well, I think what we ought to do is we ought to fix it, and we ought to log when it was fixed exactly,
Yeah.
and then just see what happens. Because if it is that quick, and there's other circumstances that are causing, say for instance, you know, cracks in the curb and actually in the gutter itself, those need to be repaired by the owners of the curb and gutter. So, and that needs to be, I guess, you know, relayed to those
Documented.
individuals. Yeah, and I think as long as we've got some kind of documentation to fall back on, we do have a leg to stand on to say, look, and we did our part, we did everything we could, but here's why it's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
So what would it take long-term to fix it?
Fix our curb and gutter, and then we can cut the asphalt a
Is
little
this
more
something
square.
Would be fixed when the
But
chip
it-
sealing occurs? or-
The chip sealing would help
No.
seal it in the
Not
end.
if water's coming through some cracks in the curb and gutter getting underneath there.
They could, again, it'd be temporarily, but they could seal it, and they could probably do a fair job of sealing it, but it wouldn't be a permanent fix. The only real fix is to tear all the curb and gutter out and put in new curb and gutter. That's really the only fix. It's a very expensive fix, and it's not our fix. So they're not gonna like to hear that. But really,
Most municipalities make you responsible for your curb and gutter. Without the ordinances in front of me, I can't tell you what ours say, but we probably have something in there with who's responsible for curb and gutter. And I'd imagine there's a clause that says you've gotta have it kept up to the
That's what
point
it
where
looks like.
it doesn't cause damage to the street, so. If Lonnie tells me that's what the problem is, and I can look at the ordinances, and if the next step is to write that homeowner a letter saying, we need to fix this, and that's probably the next logical step to do it. I'm sure there's a timeline that we can give them that would be reasonable. Like Lonnie says, it's October 1st, so,
yeah, that's a good point.
and that letter would not, figuring that out would not take me very much time, getting a letter to the homeowner if that's what the street department wants. And I don't know that that's action, that's not something that requires council action, that's just please fix your curb and gutter activity.
Enforcement of an ordinance, basically. There you go.
Okay. All right, any other comments on that? Okay, motion to enter into executive session to SDCL 1-25-2-3 contracts.
You need that, Pat?
I'm sorry.
Do we need that?
Yes.
Executive session?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-3. It's for contracts.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Contracts, does that go for streets or what specific department?
Contracts.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Is
Is
there
it
any
street
further
department or?
It is street department.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're in executive session at 6:55.
Get one sheet out. Me. Nope. Good talk.
Okay. Dale Pearson is in here, wastewater
Oh,
update.
wait a
No,
minute.
we got letter D.
D, chip seal update.
Oh, I'm sorry. seal update.
So, the road guy, due to the weather, is not going to be able to chip seal our roads, this summer, or at this time. So we will be looking into options, for next year.
Okay.
It'll be done, it's just gonna be next year.
Correct.
Okay, now we can go to water and wastewater updates. Dale Pearson is not here. Dale did spend an awful lot of time at the sewer plant through all the heavy rain. He spent a couple nights there all night long, I know, pushing water to save our plant. He did a fantastic job, as always.
We did have a couple of failures at the sewer plant. One of the intermittent wet well agitators was not working, and he brought the pump up to Sioux Falls. I'm not sure when that's coming back.
Maybe Wednesday,
Okay,
after he contacted them again today.
okay,
So
perfect.
There's supposed to be a motor coming to Sioux Falls
Yes.
today or tomorrow.
And another issue that we had was some of his panels switches were not working properly. And he has found a different company that he's working with, and he's getting very quick response from them and enjoying working with them. But we did have about $2,500 worth of expense on the sewer plant. But, I mean, he did the best he could with the equipment that he had, and the plant itself did flood, but, you know, at least no one had backup. So,
Okay.
I don't know how it would be possible to do it, but maybe to put a blurb in that says something about, we'd just like to reiterate that it's actually unlawful to run your sump water into the sanitary sewer. I think it would be a good idea to mention that, only because, again, as I walk around town, I walk in areas, and as you walk over a manhole, you can hear a large amount of water running through that manhole. Now, it hasn't rained for a while, and I realize that the ground is saturated, and we probably have some ingress from just groundwater. But my gosh, there's way too much water running through that sanitary sewer all of the time.
if you walk over, it doesn't matter what time of year, it could be in the dead of winter, if you walk over that manhole on First Street right outside of Beeler's, you will hear water there every day.
So, do we have a leak? I mean, have we got a water leak issue possibly, or?
I think you just have
Old
800
lines.
people using water, whether it's laundry or.
Well, that's,
But
it's hard to believe.
the thing about that manhole that Pat's referring to, that's probably good 3/4 of the town going through that manhole,
Yeah,
at
I
least.
suppose.
So, but what you're referring to though, if you do some walking, you'll go by one house that's pumping out in the street and you can tell, you walk by the next one, it's not.
And it's not pumping out in the
So-
street. You don't even see a pipe,
I
a
mean,
hose.
it's kinda obvious, you
Yeah,
know, when
I-
both houses are on each
I-
side are
I guess-
pumping and the one in the middle isn't.
It wouldn't hurt to somehow let people know that that's actually gonna cost us some possible sewer issues somewhere down the line. It could cost everybody a lot of sewer issues. And there's a reason why you're not allowed to do that. That's why. I mean, it puts too much pressure on the sanitary sewer. So, that's my
Okay.
2 cents.
All right, anything else on the water and wastewater? Okay. Police department updates. Chief?
Yeah, we had a pretty busy month. Did I screw up on the totals then or no?
No, it was just two different pie charts.
Okay, yeah, we had a busy month. Calls are up and just stuff is busy. I can't really describe to you how busy it is. 41% of our case reports this month are drug violations. So,
you know, in the last week alone, we have, I think, four arrests for controlled substances slash meth. And you know, it's not just the arrest, it's the back end of everything. I tried to explain that a little bit, but it's the arrest report, the probable cause to the judge, the search warrant for the urine, so you can prove ingestion charge. Search warrant for everything. It's busy. So 1 hour of fun work turns into 6 hours of paperwork on the back end of the arrest. So I just wanted you guys to know that we are burning the candle at both ends. I think the other day I did a 15-hour day, Austin did a 17-hour day. We had 3 arrests, 3 arrests that day, all drug related. It's busy. New radios, these radios are finally up and running. They're working really good. They were on that grant. I just wanted to let you guys know that. We removed that, or I asked Lonnie to remove that police parking only sign down at City Hall. We really don't need it. We're able-bodied, we can walk. I'd rather give it to the public that wants to stop at City Hall. So I asked Lonnie to remove it. He took it out that day, and we'll just let people that need to park close, park close. We're able to walk, and that's just the way it is, so. Our new city sign is up. Lonnie and Dale put that on the building the other day. We got it from Sioux Falls. It looks sharp. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not.
Yeah.
Pat and I did kind of brainstorm an idea to light it at night, but we don't know if we have enough circuit at City Hall, so we're kind of tapped out in that arena. So we'll see how that goes. But I think it, yeah. The parade, I think, went well. Everything went good there. We didn't have any issues. We did have troopers come up for traffic. The county was, they're pretty short-handed right now. They just didn't have anybody to send for traffic, so I asked Highway Patrol, and they were on board with it, so they did some traffic control for us. Austin's looking at getting a house in town here. He's kind of sale pending right now, or no?
Yeah, we have signed purchase agreement.
Signed purchase agreement, so he'll be moving to town relatively, probably within a month or two.
Yeah.
And I know, Mayor, when we originally talked, for inclement weather, I know you want the truck in town. If it turns to a point where before he moves, if we're getting inclement weather, the truck's gonna remain at the PD. So either one of us can have it during snow. So that'll be in town. And then when Austin does move to town, the truck will probably stay at his house, and if I need it, I can go get it at his house, so. As long as he warms it up and it's in the garage, so. I didn't know if we were gonna bring this up in the policy manual or not, but have we put to bed the on-call deal as far as the PD, or is there thoughts on that, or? I wasn't privy to the last time that it was spoken about. I guess I don't know where it's at, or can you guys not talk about that, or? I just for a point of reference where we're at. I know originally your recommendation a few months ago, Sam, but I didn't know if we're at.
We've got it in the budget, right?
For 2019, yes. So.
Okay.
Are you asking, just so I'm clear, are you asking more the pay side or the what does the policy entail side?
Well, I guess either. Are we looking at doing something, compensation for on-call then, or is it dropped at this point, or?
It's not dropped, that's
Okay.
all. That's all I would say right now, but only because I don't feel comfortable saying anything more.
Okay. Yep, I just didn't know. All right.
We have money in the budget for it. The budget's been approved.
Y'all can talk about anything you want here, just, you know, as far as where it's at. The last that I recall where it was at was I recommended a dollar amount. The short and sweet version, if we're gonna expect you guys to be so circumscribed in what you can do, probably gonna have to pay you on-call time and an overtime rate. So my recommendation was the policy needs to be drafted in a manner that allows enough flexibility and personal leeway to where you're not gonna have to be paid, overtime for being in an on-call status. However, for a, quality of life issue and given the fact that you're still gonna have to limit what you do to some degree in your personal times, that's why I said compensation was probably appropriate. So I say all that to say what do we want our on-call policy to be? I would like the department to tell me what a reasonable response time they think should be in a reasonable distance. I mean, what do you gentlemen want, And then if you're saying 30 minutes or something, then we definitely don't need to pay a on-call, at the overtime rate. But so I get the sense from the council that they want something maybe a little tighter. So I'll write whatever the council and the department want. I'm saying all this to say I don't know that we ever slapped the table on, here's what we would like as a city.
Yeah, well.
That's a lot of talking, Chief. Does that answer your question? Sorry.
No, to a degree, but I don't see anybody else on the city council giving up half their weekends on call. So, that being said, half the time, 45 to 46 hours a week, Austin and I are not leaving for Sioux Falls. We're not going out to supper in Vermillion. And I guess, to a degree, we're doing that for free right now. This was a topic that was a prior issue with the prior chief and officer. It was my understanding that the city wanted to do better in that arena. And it's not just Austin, it's myself as well. It's okay, 45 hours a week, I can't have a beer. 45, there's quite a bit of time where I can't have a beer at home. Like tonight, I cannot go home and have a beer after 12, 13 hour day. So yeah, I kind of want to know the general direction that we're going on this. And I feel that's fair. We've been going along now. We've had your recommendation 2 or 3 months ago. I don't remember when it came out, but I'd kind of like some explanation as to what we're doing. Or do we not have anything?
I thought we did. I guess maybe I was mistaken. I thought we had decided.
No, I think we did. Yeah. That's why I said it's not been dropped. I mean, it's just that it's not necessarily implemented yet.
Sure.
That's the only thing.
I just haven't received an update or
right.
any, like, hey, we're doing this, or
I guess it was my understanding that we were going to implement this prior to 2019.
Correct, retro to July.
Retro to.
See, that's the whole point. It's actually going to be even retroactive. So it's almost like it's really in effect right now, but it's just not in effect right now.
But see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I understood.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do we need to do to get them their money?
I hate when you say it like that.
Well, but it is. I mean, you
I just want to make it
working for it
going forward. Yeah.
There's the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
It's being fixed and it's going to remain fixed. That's,
yeah,
I think, the most important thing in my way of thinking.
And I was happy that the city realized there was an issue and willing to look at how do we fix this problem and have retention and, to a degree. Anyways, I just wanted what you guys were thinking. So.
Was this issue voted on as council?
There was no vote.
We don't need to have discussion with the gallery when we're in session. That would just be my opinion for the council. Public input time is not now.
Chief, I've got a question about the report.
Sure.
And this is only just something I am interested in. I mean, there's drug violation, possession of drug paraphernalia. Okay, that's one thing.
Sure.
Then there's drug violation, possession of controlled substance.
Right.
Then there's drug violation, possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces
Yeah.
Isn't that a controlled substance? I
No.
mean, why doesn't that all just kind
No.
of go in the
So,
same?
Possession of marijuana is not, marijuana is not a controlled substance, so it's not methamphetamine, it's not a unprescribed medication that you have a controlled substance. So marijuana is a separate charge. A lot of times, less than 2 ounces is a class 1 misdemeanor. So it's an arrestable offense, however, it's not a felony. It's not a, so there's different classes for, different arrests for different drugs. Marijuana is a lesser of a charge, unless you bump up over 2 ounces, then it goes to a felony charge. Or with intent to distribute, then it goes up as well.
That was the other question I had, because I was under the impression that it used to say 1 ounce.
Oh, it's
Now all of a sudden it's 2 ounces.
2 ounces, which is a lot of weed.
I know, well,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
what I'm saying is.
Pretty big bag of weed, yeah. 2 ounces or less is a class 1 misdemeanor.
Huh.
So, and then paraphernalia would be like a pipe or
Yeah.
even a meth pipe. Scale.
So
yeah,
there's another
baggies.
question, I
Yeah.
mean, so they're caught with a pipe that's been used to smoke marijuana or a
Right.
pipe that's been used to smoke meth?
Yeah, we
That's
treat.
what you do?
So that's 2 different charges,
I
right?
was wondering about that.
So marijuana would be possession of marijuana and then paraphernalia. If I can find residue of a controlled substance on a pipe, I charge you with the possession of controlled substance
Up to-
and paraphernalia. So that's felony.
Gotcha.
I'm just curious, is this kids or is it older?
It's
more?
been adults so far that have
More
been.
adult.
Yeah. But it's definitely an issue.
Yeah, it is.
To run into it this many times in 1 week, it's, I don't know why this is happening. It's a lot of work on our end, but, and we're gonna keep plugging away, because ultimately, listen, my daughter goes to school here, your grandkids, everybody lives here. I want a safe community, so we're gonna keep plugging away. It might be a lot of hours, but we gotta get it out of here.
It's a problem in my job. I'm in Northwest Iowa. It's
Oh.
a problem.
Yeah, well, we don't want it to get into
But I worry
schools.
about the young kids.
Yeah, that would be the goal, to keep it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm worried about people, and I don't wanna share information, but people that are getting their houses robbed, you know, various things are happening that are totally unrelated to the actual, well, they're related to the drugs, but
Absolutely.
but they're not related to the drugs. I mean, they're not related to the actual use of the drugs, but they need to rip somebody off because
Yeah. Along
they
with-
need the drugs.
Along with meth use and not being employed comes theft. So they gotta support the habit somehow. And it's all tied together.
Scary.
Mr. Mayor, can you go back to the on-call just briefly? Just very briefly for the.
Get one
Can we
now?
go back to the on-call issue just briefly?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, I want to make sure I'm clear, and more importantly, our minutes are clear, so there's no misinterpretation about where we're at and what things have happened and have not happened.
Yeah.
I briefed the council on the possibilities for on-call. So those possibilities have all been out there. No action has been taken in any session to approve either a policy or a payment. As you know, I think I recommended something like $2 an hour. So for the council and the chief, the way forward, I think, would be at some point, we make a motion to, are we going to pay on-call past a certain time, or if you are designated on-call, are we gonna pay that? If the answer is yes, it's yes. Obviously, if you get a call and you go out and you do something, you're on the clock, and if you're over 40 or 42 or whatever the magic number is, you're getting paid time and a half at that point. But while you're waiting, you're getting that compensation. The second thing, not necessarily the preferred way to do it, but there's nothing wrong with it, is we need to write a policy, probably mostly with your input, is what does on-call mean?
Sure.
You know, and so, for the council and everybody here, that's up to you guys when you want to vote to do that.
Which is basically what you were kind of asking for earlier, input from the officers as to what really is on-call, what kind of beast are we dealing with here?
Right, and I mean, you know, if there's a policy the chief has put in place now, you can be no farther from town here, there's no alcohol, we've already touched on that several times, I mean,
That's a policy, that's a I'd call that a temporary policy that he's put in place that we can act on until we get something in writing. So if we have it, you know, there's nothing to say we can't follow it, because it sounds like the department's already doing that. So, thank you for allowing me that, Mr. Mayor.
And just to touch on that, Sam, I wouldn't say I've enacted a policy, but I kind of expect 15 minutes. I think that's an eternity when you're getting your ass kicked. So, you know, if there's a fight or something, I don't think, that's a personal thing. And then currently, we will just both know when we're on call, you know, that person doesn't really, you don't leave, you know, you stick close to town and you're not drinking and you're on call. So you're en route if something calls up, dispatch calls up. So that's just how we've been doing it. Even if we're not to be compensated for it, we're still gonna do it because that's the people we are and that's the people you hire, you know. We don't just, well, somebody else will do our job for us. That's not gonna ever happen. So we just, you know, that's where we're at on it. But maybe we're beating a dead horse. I don't know.
Can I just bring it all full circle really quick, is that okay?
Please.
When we met to discuss the policy manuals, that was the three of us, and you, and then I think public safety probably talked about it,
Yeah.
and then budget committee talked about it. I think we all need to schedule a special meeting and actually vote, make something happen, figure out what this policy is going to be, figure out how much they're going to get paid, when it's going to be paid, finalize the, and I know you don't like putting it a specific way.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
In order to comply with FLSA and all that stuff that we've already looked into, this is something that should have already happened long ago. Let's get it done.
That being said, does it take that, Sam? Or does it take somebody to say, we've already had something on what we're thinking and let's get it done?
So, the short answer is, it takes part of that, right? So, you can discuss contractual issues and pay and labor issues, which we've done, and we've discussed options. In order to have a formal vote to pay a specific dollar amount, it needs to be an agenda item. The state law says you've got to publish agenda items, I think it's 24 hours in advance, and you've got to give enough public notice to have a regular meeting or a special meeting. And so, you know, if we're gonna vote on starting an on-call pay at X number of dollars an hour, you know, on date X, we would need to publish an agenda saying, here's what we're gonna talk about and vote on, so that the public can, you know, have notice of that.
Okay.
As far as the pay part, you know, as far as writing the policy, that could take more time, but we write it, we circulate it, we put it out to the public, and then we adopt it. And to be frank with you, this is not a set in stone answer. I don't know that we even need to vote to adopt it. I think it may be something that we publish as part of a larger manual to adopt, or personnel policy. But the dollars piece, we can't do it tonight, Chief, but we could do it next week if we needed to. Did that answer your question or not? Okay.
Can we do that tonight? Can we set a date to make this happen?
Does it need to be a special meeting or can it be November?
This is my gripe with it. It's all bold talk and to me, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of, it's fine, but.
We can do it in a few days. It doesn't matter. I mean, here's my point. If we make it retroactive, it doesn't matter if we do it December 31st, because it'll be retroactive, so it's irrelevant.
Well, it's relevant to the point of, we've been talking about this for several months and it still hasn't happened.
I know.
If we set a date and say this is the date we're doing it, then that's the date we do it.
Good.
And it's finally done. Instead of every meeting, every month, we say, well, it doesn't really matter because of this and it doesn't really matter because of that. I mean, it's to the point where obviously it matters.
I just want to put it to bed. It's on my list to get done.
When would you like to schedule the special meeting?
2 weeks.
15th?
Is that enough time for you to get, do we need to have a policy ahead of time? Or just approve the dollar amount, do policy later?
Just approve.
I feel comfortable here and now saying we've got a temporary policy that the officers don't understand to abide by. And I think that it can be incorporated into their written schedule or whatever they've got in that time. I can sure try to get you an on-call policy by then. I don't know that that's something that you need to pay out what we have been following as a temp policy.
Or is that something that, sorry,
No.
public safety can get together with these guys and type something up and send it to you and you can
Sure,
look
yeah.
it over?
No. I mean, I think 2 weeks we could get a policy written. I don't think that's unreasonable if that's what the council would like.
Or we could, within the next couple of weeks, meet with public safety, set a meeting for that. We get something dialed up, get it on paper, get it to Sam, November meeting, we bring it up as an agenda,
And finish it.
if that's all right.
Sure. But at least
I'd
that eliminates one meeting of the entire council.
Yeah. We could just do public safety. We already have some ideas on
Yep.
what we thought.
Now, my question then becomes, does that policy then become a portion of the police policy manual?
Yes.
Okay.
I would think so.
Okay, so when are you gonna have this meeting? Do you need to set a time for this right now?
We can do that offline.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can put,
The actual
yeah.
committee
We'll
can set
figure
that.
out.
All right.
That's all I got. Sorry for taking up too much time.
Anything,
Not a
anybody
problem.
got anything else on the police? Okay. Golf course updates, David Larsen.
Things are pretty quiet out there. Still got lakes where we used to have grass, but they're getting smaller. Tomorrow, we're aerating the greens. That's a all hands on deck kind of thing. We need all the staff out there, myself, the wastewater people, and the street people. Takes 5 of us to get that done in a day. And so thanks to them for getting that done. Very shortly after that, we'll be renting a seeder and putting down some grass seed on some of the fairways. Get that started growing this fall. Then we'll just do the fall checklist and button it up by the end of the month.
One thing that I heard at the community center meeting, and I'm not gonna necessarily say exactly what was said, but people were talking about weeds and weed problems. I'm assuming that that's a kind of a spraying issue. Do you guys spray in the spring and fall? I mean, what's the plan?
We have been spraying every fall, usually November.
Oh, yeah.
Or end of October. This year we sprayed once already, in the summer. I think most of the weed problems were crabgrass. This is a terrible year for crabgrass.
Yeah, it really has been.
So next year we'll be probably putting on 2 applications of crabgrass preventer.
In the spring, a week or 2 apart or whatever.
No, 2 months apart. Probably put on 1 in May and 1 in July. Yeah,
But it all costs a lot of money, and I realize that. That was one of the points I didn't say anything, but I almost was gonna say, that's one of the reasons why rates keep going up, because it costs a lot of money to kill weeds. It costs a lot of money to run lawnmowers and put in sprinkler heads. So,
yeah.
I think,
We're
we
not-
walked the whole course the other day. I just went for a walk, and I said, I guess Celine was out there, and nobody else was on the course at all. I said, would it be all right if we just walked the whole course? And we looked at a lot of stuff, and, yeah, there are weeds, but it looks good. I was impressed. I'd like to golf it.
Got anything else, David?
That's all.
Okay, we're going to move to number 17, executive session. Need a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2H3, pending litigation. Can we get a motion to do that?
Pending litigation.
I move to go into executive session SDCL 1-25-2 -3.
After the dash two. I will second Darla's motion to go into executive session pursuant to SBCL 1-25-2-3, pending litigation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're in executive session at, what is it, 7:42? Yeah, I want Wanda here, I want Patty here, please.
At 7:42.
7:42, and we're out of executive session at 8 o'clock. Finance office updates, Pat. Motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion, we approve the warrants.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. American Legion Auxiliary storage option.
Vickie Ahart approached me. This is a bad night to talk about this when we're not actually at the auditorium, but hopefully all of you have been in the gym to kind of know what I'm talking about. But on the top of the stage, on the right-hand side of the stage, as you're looking at it, there is a small area that was built. It's got footings and sidewalls, a roof, and just rough sheetrock on it, or plywood actually. It's completely unfinished, and a door, which is our locked storage area for files and data. The ladies auxiliary approached us about building something on the opposite end of the stage to house the items that they would like to have in storage. It would be at their expense. It was just a question of whether or not the council would allow them to build something like that on the stage for storage.
At one time, I believe the people that put up the new Christmas lights even asked about this, and we were even considering that at that time.
Yeah.
But then it was decided to move them elsewhere.
Well, they were put downstairs.
At that time, we didn't have any issue with this. I don't see where there should be any issue
I
with
don't
it
see
now.
where there's a problem with letting them do that.
The only thing that I would say is a little bit of a liability issue in the fact that we don't have stairs. So right now, when any of us want to get on the stage, we use a chair. And Vickie is probably the youngest one in that group, so that might be a little situation.
That was my concern, is who's constructing it?
Well, they'd have to have it.
Yeah,
They'd have to build some kind of a step way to get up there.
Vickie did not go in, she just asked if the council would have any issue if something like that was constructed on the stage. But my thought is stairs would probably need to be built.
Yeah, that would be a start. Stairs, and then finding out who's going to be doing this. Are they going to be, like, if something happens during the building process? Or if something happens, like, once these people get up there to get their stuff out, and they biff it and fall through the floor?
Well, I don't think you need to worry about it falling through the floor, but, 'cause it's.
There's a
I'm just
storage area
making stuff
under
up.
the stage too, right? There's doors that open, they can put stuff under the stage.
That is true.
Okay, Would they be able to make a set of steps that could be
Moved over.
stored under the stage?
Possibly. I don't know if they would be wide enough, because the cubbies are not real wide. That is a possibility though.
Is there room downstairs where they could store what they need?
I think they want to get away from stairs.
Well, then-
I mean,
Okay.
a lot of stairs.
So let's put in stairs.
How much of an area do they need?
They would build something like we have for our storage. So,
So where is this stuff housed at right now?
I do not know. I did
Probably
not ask.
somebody's garage.
That would be my guess too. And I'm sure it's their poppies and the, whatever else they bring in to work on.
Well, there would be a way to build steps that could slide underneath there. There's a way to do that, but they would need to have that in with what they're doing, that something like that is built safely to get access to their area.
I don't think we want permanent steps up to there, do we?
No, because they use it for
Right,
basketball.
yeah.
But it's something that could slide underneath that stage, that could be done.
I don't know if it's something that could be a pull down like you have for your attic, mounted on the wall.
Do you wanna say that loud? Thank you.
But what, they need to come up with a plan of what they're gonna build, how they're gonna get access to it, and then we'll look at it.
I agree, we need
There you
more
go.
specifications here on how this is all going.
Okay.
We're concerned for their well-being.
Okay. Safe Route to School project update.
Several phone calls and emails and et cetera have been made. We will be having a meeting where all the parties involved will get together. It will either be tomorrow at 1 o'clock or Thursday at 1 o'clock, I have not heard. But DOT will be there, 2 representatives from DOT. The Kim McClary engineer from Elk Point, either he or Michael will be there. I've asked Sam to be there, myself. We figure this is the only way to actually get a solution, is if everyone involved is sitting around the table and we talk about it. Also at this meeting then, the videos and pictures and stuff that has been presented to the council will be shared so that they know what we're going through this year as well.
The individuals involved as homeowners
Correct.
are also going to be allowed to be there or not?
At this point, I did talk with the Christensens at the Pancake Feed on Saturday. And I said at this point, I think it should just be the parties involved, you know, the city, the DOT.
The money people.
The engineers, yes.
I also did send a official request on behalf of the city for an extension of the deadline for the final payment of $20,000. Kara Engel is I think she's the chief legal counsel for DOT. We spoke on the phone, so she has given us a 6 months extension for that final payment. There's a caveat in her letter that says, you know, however, if we successfully resolve the drainage problem ahead of time, that, you know, payment will be due within, I think it's 30 days or something like that.
Reasonable amount.
Yeah, reasonable amount. So we've got breathing space for that, and she, I think Pat would agree with this, she seemed quite eager to sit everybody down and hash out how we can fix it, so.
It's good.
Do we have a date set up, a time yet?
I do not have
Okay.
that, no. I did not hear back from Rod, so.
Okay. Personal policy, we need police policy manual, I'm sorry.
That is still a work in process. I hope to have that to Sam within the week.
1 week?
Yes.
Flu shot, personnel. Motion to approve city paying for flu shots for city employees. We've done that in the past.
Correct.
Thanks, Sam.
See y'all.
And I talked
Drive
with,
careful.
I talked with the clinic and the cost is $30.
Do you know anybody that's gotten the flu shot yet this year?
I did,
I did.
last week.
It really hurts. Becky did, and she's got a large area this big around, red, swollen. Never have I ever had this kind of pain. I mean, I've had tetanus shots that don't hurt this bad. I don't know what's different, but they either,
You're supposed to
you
get it.
didn't have a problem?
I haven't had one.
They're getting old.
I don't know.
I'm older.
I mean, I even told Vickie, I don't understand this, how come my arm hurts so bad? And then I realized that was where I had the shot.
I had it last week.
So how many employees are we talking about?
Usually there's only two that
Two?
take advantage of it.
So we're only talking 30 bucks, or 60 bucks. Well, we need a motion to approve paying that.
I mean, I'm not saying it'll be the same,
Yeah,
because we
it
have
could be
different
more than
police
two.
department
Yeah.
now, but typically,
We could have 6.
you could have 6.
Okay,
So again, $180
yeah.
maximum. Well, I believe that it's wise to at least allow that as an option to all the city employees, so I will make a motion for the city to pay for flu shots for the city employees.
I will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I just
Aye.
got
Opposed?
one thing, like my work makes it an option, but they still want you to run it through your insurance. So like my insurance pays mine. So my work would pay it if they don't pay it. So
That's a
I
good-
don't know.
That's a good
Is that-
point. You might want to at least try that. I know our insurance paid for it. We didn't pay a dime.
you know, run it through your insurance, and then if it didn't pay it, I just put a bill in and it's paid.
Okay.
Just something to check into.
Do you want to amend the motion?
I think that the motion is that we will
Yeah.
pay for the flu shot, so I would actually like to rescind my motion completely. And I would like to put forward a motion that the city approves paying for the flu shots for city employees, provided that the employees first run the cost through their insurance company to get whatever compensation is possible.
Okay,
I will second.
okay. Now, we have the motion and the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Special projects.
Just to let you know, it has been a little bit busy in our office as well. My response to the Office of Hearing Examiners took a day, and then Lonnie drove through the streets and identified 134 homes that were in need of trimming trees. And so those letters will be going out this week. And we consolidated bills, water bills and letters together.
Okay. Anything more on that? Okay, reminders and updates. October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Fall cleanup dumpsters on site, October 5th to the 14th. Glow necklaces for kids for Halloween. Is that something that the city supplied?
Yep, police department does it.
Police department?
Yeah, we
Oh,
ordered-
cool.
So we ordered them again. We didn't do bags this year, we just did glow necklaces.
Yeah.
There's 240 kids in the elementary, we ordered 300. I don't know how we're gonna have them come and get them. I gotta figure that out yet. Gonna put it on Facebook and possibly do a news article in the paper.
Cool.
So,
Would it be possible to actually have an officer go to the school?
yeah, and I thought
just-
about that too, but I'm just wondering if the kids won't just be like, break them.
Last year,
yeah.
Dodie just drove
Yeah.
around and handed them out on Halloween night.
Is that what Dodie did?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do the,
You'll come up with a plan.
I'm not saying you have to do that, I'm just
There you
saying
go.
that that's
Yeah.
what he did.
Okay. Daylight saving time ends Sunday, November 4th. City council meeting Monday, November 5th. Fair board updates?
Well, we had a meeting right after our last meeting. Overall, fair, they feel is up. That was also there. The attendance at the donkey ball was great, and the tractor pull was a tad bit greater. The concert was not.
Okay.
So from the concert, and they have decided maybe in the future, we won't have music. Because in the past, it's just not, if people can hear it, they don't pay. If they can see it, they got to go and pay.
Okay.
So, but no, overall, they were pretty positive. didn't you feel?
Very.
Good.
Yeah. Even though we had the rain that
Yeah.
screwed up a few things, but
So when you say see it, I mean, if you had a hypnotist or something like
yeah,
that.
and they had that.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you did something like that.
And things like the
Laser tag.
laser tag was a hit, and also, what was the other one? I'm trying to think. Well, the kitty tractor pull is now outgrowing they do it inside the show ring, and every year it gets bigger. So they're talked about, they're gonna have to almost move that out to a main event.
Take care of the concert, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they get so many kids there. So-
That's great.
It is.
It is great.
And the commissioners, they put a whole bunch of money into it. The commissioners have now voted to completely gut the bathrooms in the main exhibit building and putting in all new bathrooms.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So Janet's pretty thrilled with that thing. She says for years of not fixing anything,
Now they're doing it.
They're doing
Good,
it.
great.
so that's good news.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, and next year, it was confirmed, the fair will be August 1st through 4th. They had to vote at leaders' meeting.
8-1 to 8-4.
Yeah. And the elevator had their big supper during our fair this year, and they have asked for the dates, so they will not conflict. And there was one other conflict. Oh, the golf,
The
So
goal ball.
the goal ball, maybe have them a different time so they don't all conflict.
Okay. HRC update.
We got a meeting in 2 days.
Yeah.
It'll be our fall meeting. Things have gone pretty well. We did have to replace one refrigerator in the fourplex. And, I mean, things are gonna start costing, but
Yeah.
we're still solvent.
Okay. There is, kind of on this, I believe there's gonna be a spec home put on Beck Drive
Where?
soon.
On Beck Drive.
On Beck Drive, or not, yeah,
Yeah,
on Beck
Beck
Drive.
Drive.
In one of the lots.
In one of the lots.
So in essence,
Gary
one of the lots
McPhillips
will be sold.
is getting with, I think he's gonna contact Kevin Pies about it, and who else, I'm not real positive, but it was voted on and approved at the industrial board meeting, and there will be a spec home put there.
So that'll save the city a little interest money.
Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be good,
and another house on the tax rolls.
and, yeah,
And there's a possibility of another one being built elsewhere?
Yes.
That's what I had heard.
yes.
I'm not gonna say anymore, I don't know where
Third
exactly.
Iowa Street, where that property that Joe Moore used to have was taken down, there's gonna be a home put in there. And it's gonna be a 3-bedroom, I believe. The way the vote's going right now, I think it'll be a 3-bedroom home. So, things
So
are
it's
looking
actually
up.
2 homes that are actually gonna be going on the tax rolls, and perfect timing with what's going on in Beersford.
So, things are really looking up for our town. Community building update, Pat?
Well, as some of you know, we had our drawing presentation meeting out at the clubhouse. There was probably about 50 people in attendance. There was quite a bit of, there was suggestions, positive comments, negative comments, but overall, people are welcoming the idea of a community center. I have not had a chance to get back together with our committee to share some of those suggestions, but we will be getting together hopefully this week and figuring out when we will be hosting another meeting. The closure of the property has not happened yet either. That's some documentation that Sam has been working on for the city as well. So we are very close to doing the official closing on the property.
Okay. Updating volunteer roster for workman's comp. Motion to add
Mary Beth
Mary
Briggle.
Beth, is it Briggle?
Briggle.
Yep.
And remove Eric Handel, and Mike Burke, and Rick Carlson.
At last month's meeting, I had word to add Rick to the fire department, but that was in error. And after our meeting, I got the full roster from PACast. And so that's where the Eric Andel and Mary Beth Briggle come in.
We don't have that list here, do we? Each of us?
Oh, I did not,
No, I know,
No.
I know that we got it
Mhm.
in email
I did
form.
not print it out, no.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody wants to just look at it anyway, pass it around.
Okay, so we do need a motion to,
I'll make a motion to add Mary Beth Briggle to the volunteer roster for workman's comp and remove Eric Handel, Mike Burke, and Rick Carlson.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, we're down to 18, the motion to adjourn. We get a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, guys.